Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome again to LessonPix Live Late.
Yeah, no, this is
I don't know, whatever this
just
is.
a live
Thank you.
Facebook Live.
Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We're going to talk about the launch of our new grid books and what that tool means and what you can make with it.
Hooray! We're celebrating.
Somebody is making fun of me for
finally-
how long this particular tool took to get out.
We are celebrating. This
Yeah.
is an awesome new tool that I've gotten to play with a lot over the past couple weeks. So.
Months.
But a lot very recently, and so,
So
it's been quite a journey.
So we are going to spend a very short amount of time here. We're going to give the basics of what this tool is and what you can do with it. If there anybody out there who wants to ask questions, go ahead. I know everybody's busy this time of day, but we pushed out a video this afternoon. We also turned the new tool on in the main site, which is a big deal.
A little scary.
A little bit. We're ready for you all to beat it to death. We'll talk a little bit about the fact that we know this is the first iteration of this product, but it is cool.
So what is it?
All right. So let's talk about what we can make with these. Should we talk about the tool or should we talk about what we make first?
Well, let's talk about
what this is.
Right. Okay.
So we are talking about a product, a tool inside of LessonPix called Grid Books. So you can make grid books in LessonPix now. And let me start kind of with what this is about. When you're using LessonPix, like traditionally putting pictures in the tray, making things, there are certain things that are hard to make, right? So if you want to do a layout that we don't really have, and you want to have one big picture and a bunch of small ones, and every page of the material is going to be different, the templates don't work for that.
But we did solve that
with PowerPoint
and Google Slides.
Yeah, so PowerPoint and Google Slides makes that work. And if you're trying to do something super creative with images and layering and sliding in an animation, PowerPoint and Google Slides are still the best answer.
You can't beat those.
There's nothing wrong with them. And in fact, our add-ins for Google Slides and PowerPoint will get better because of this tool. We'll show you why in a little bit. But if you want to do it within the tool, if you want to do it quickly in a LessonPix way, like make it easy, make it simple, just don't cost me a ton of money. We didn't have a
do
way
it
to
from
do that.
Anywhere. You can put together a quick book,
throw it together and go.
Yeah.
So that has been harder to do than it should have been. And then the other thing that's hard to do really are books of grids, right? And that's why it's called a grid book tool. You can make books of grids, right? That's the point. So pull one out.
See, what do you mean?
Yeah, so Lori's got stacks of them here, right? Books of grids.
Oh, look at that.
Right. So if you want to make this exact thing, so this is the book of grid that has to do with songs. So every one of these has visual supports to go with a song. It was in our video. You saw you made this first, and then I remade it in the demo video. If you want to have a book that you're flipping through, and every page is going to be different, and every layout on every page may be different, LessonPix is not your tool, because while you can make a communication board, you're going to make one for every page. It is going to be a mess, right? And maintaining it has always been a challenge because we don't store the colors, because the positions need to be moved around. It's just hard. So we made a tool to fix that. So those of you who do this, if you're using Core and Fringe, if you're using any low-tech AAC device, no matter how you organize it, pragmatically or motor planning, any of these things that you use, this is going to make your life a lot simpler. So let's do the basics. And I'm not going to do the full demo, everything there is to do in this tool.
You already did that.
Yeah, I just posted the video. Watch the video and you'll be good. So let's get into this and show a little bit of how this works. So first, let's start with where do you find it? In LessonPix. So you're in LessonPix. If you go to your LessonPix right here, underneath the Play Tools, there's a thing called Grid Books. So if you want to get to your grid books, if you want to make something new, click right here. For the moment, there's also a link right here so that you're reminded of it, but I'm not sure it's going to stay there. That might be just while we launch it. It will always live right here on your LessonPix page where it says Grid Books. Okay, click on it. And if you don't have a grid book that you're currently editing, it'll pop up with this, which is, what do you want to do? You want to start a new one or load up an existing one? So thank you. So people think we're the best. So if you hit
This is cool.
new book, it's going to start making a book with the first page. So first page. So first, what are we trying to make? What are we going to make first?
Well, it's in the name, so obviously I see a grid.
There's a grid. It's going to ask you how many rows, how many columns. Let's make something like your stories, because that was nice and easy.
Okay.
All right. So we start with a 4x5 grid. That's probably fine.
Mm-hmm.
If we want, we can add a heading, a header. You can add a footer. These can have multiple columns, multiple rows. You can put like lots of little pictures at the top, or sometimes you just want a different number. So even though there's only one column, there's only 3 things at the top, even though there's 5 across the bottom. You can do that, and it'll make it work. If you hit the X, it'll go away. You can add one to the left, to the right. I'm just going to call this page 1 because I don't know what we're going to make our subject yet. We didn't plan this out well enough. And all we're going to do is hit new page. So
I think what we're going to do later is do a
bunch
well-planned
of
kind of
videos.
Webinar type video
Yep.
to show you all the tricks of the trade too,
Yeah.
because there's
a lot of things you
cool
can do
things
for
in
this.
here.
So so Dana says that we're the best. We're the best. Turns out we're the best. I don't disagree with you.
You've worked very hard on this.
So let's thank you, Dana.
With the help of people,
of
and we
people.
do want to thank all our testers and
Yeah,
people who thought for a long time about the name and just every little
our
detail.
our biggest challenge of this really has been branding and figuring out how to not conflict with our partners. Really, it's more our partners that have competing names or ideas that they're coming out with in the near future. So Grid Books is where we are, and I'm fine with it. It's great.
I think it says exactly what it is.
Exactly what
it's
it
a book,
is. Yep.
Grid. Let's go.
Yep.
All right.
So let me hide us for a minute here so they can see the whole thing.
Good.
All right.
Good.
So once you're in this, you have a grid, and you're just going to find the pictures that you want and put them in here. So let's do a story. Give me a story that we haven't done yet.
That we haven't done.
Yeah,
yet?
but it's something that's in there.
You want to just my
Brown
goodness.
bear.
We'll do brown bear. That's
right.
exactly where I was going.
All right.
And all
So
the animals.
We're going to search for brown bear here. If I click on this, it's going to go to the category that's got all my brown bear things. And I want to lay this out where I've got one big brown bear and all of his friends, right? So, and you do it in order. I don't know the order of these. Yellow duck, right? Dog, etc.
Yeah.
A blue horse. You'll see that we have a lot of control. We can do basically whatever we want here. I'm missing one. Children. There you go. All right. So I've grabbed my pictures. I put them in the tray. If I decide to change what I want, like every one of these, I want to highlight their color. I can double click on them. I can change their background. The cardinal is going to be pink. The duck's going to be yellow. If I want to do that much work, we can do that. We can say, I need more pictures. I need to make this guy smaller, and now I have room for more pictures. Or I just need another row. I need another row over here on the right-hand side. I didn't count correctly, and
You did forget the goldfish.
I need a fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I need some other pictures
And
to
a
talk
black
about.
sheep. Yeah.
Right. So if I hit this little button right here, or if I go up to page and go to page settings, I can say, you know what? I need one more column. So I need one more column. Everything slides over.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Nice and easy. So I need my fish
and
my sheep. And is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
You got it.
And then let's add just a couple things, like maybe all done. Let's add all done over here. So
okay.
I
all
didn't show how to change the size. So you change the size right here, and we'll do all done.
You could just add text.
I could. You know what? Let's do that. That's a good idea. So
put
let's
the children up there.
Yeah, let's move this here and this there, and here we can just double click or right click and say add text and say all done. All done. And maybe there you go. All right. So I've just made a really simple grid that would have been really hard to do in LessonPix. I don't even know how you would do this in LessonPix before the grid tool, right?
Right.
You could not have done
like
this.
Large and small pictures, but then they're going to be standard templates.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So this is basically the easiest way I can think of to do this.
Mm-hmm.
One of the neat things we show in the video, in the demonstration video, is it's not about one page. It's about a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I can save this. I can save this layout here if I want to come back to it later. But let's just go ahead and create the book. We'll create this thing. I want to make it with rounded tabs. I want to make it with thin spacing.
The tabs you just cut out at the bottom, so you cut along.
Yeah.
And it makes the tabs.
Yeah. Well, let's show them what it looks like.
Yep.
Okay. So this will generate this single page book, and it's a normal PDF file. And you'll notice it looks like a normal LessonPix material, right?
Mm-hmm.
You cut this out, you got your tabs, and they'll move across. Every page will move across. You can change the background. You can basically make it look like a professionally created, just like all of our other materials. When you zoom in, right, they'll never get grainy. They'll always look great, right?
PDF. Yep. It's
normal PDF. If you've made this and you want to go back and make a change later, like let's say it's 3 weeks later, and you say, that brown bear, I need to do that again, but I need to, the all done wasn't working, and I need to do something different, or whatever your reasoning is. You can always go to your materials, go to that bear, and just like you used to be able to move the materials, the pictures up to the tray, you can also click Open Book, and it will open the editor up exactly where you were when you created that book. So you haven't lost anything. You can rechange it. You can change all your colors. You can reorder things. You can say, it was confusing to have the colors on there. So I want this white.
But did you notice the color stayed in it?
The color stayed in it. The position stayed in it.
So if you're making a communication
blank
board,
cells
you don't have to start over.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. And that's definitely one of our biggest complaints forever. So you can do that. There are some other tools in here that make this easier. I think we'll bring up a communication board so I can show it better.
Okay.
But let's show over in the overhead for a second, kind of what are some of the things you've made with this. And let me see if I can do that.
Can you?
Well,
I brought some things. But...
Yep. Overhead. Hey, there we go. All right. Look, there's us. Glad you brought stuff. All right.
I come prepared.
Good. We'll have to back up, I think. Give me something.
So we already did talk about our core and fringe boards.
It's a little dark.
Look at that.
We're doing
such a perfectionist. Oh, don't show all the wires and things around it.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to see this room. All right, so here's a tabbed communication book. This is
and this we just did duplicate page where you can just copy.
So you made this part,
mm-hmm.
and then you duplicated it, and then you made copies with all your fringe on top. Right?
Just different fringe on different boards.
And so you might place this. If these were if these were around the classroom. You might have one for every station, or you might have one for lunch. If they were in a book, you're not flipping the little tabs across the top. You're flipping all of them across the board.
And they can be stored in a central place and quickly find it using the tabs.
Yep.
Or make one without tabs.
Yep. There's an option to just say no tabs, right? You'll also notice that the text stays consistent until it starts to shrink. So up here where you have a big area, it will fill in these and make them as big as it can until it has to start shrinking. So you'll see in these that it's a lot like LessonPix in the way that it uses the same code as LessonPix, the main LessonPix, on how it shrinks text, etc.
Do you want to see more?
I do. I want to see more. So great. This is a core and fringe board that came out beautifully and will be easy to edit going forward.
I did find my adapted book. So teachers love making adaptive books, interactive books, where kids can play within them.
Marissa's excited. It's awesome.
I am too.
And she tagged a bunch of people. All right. So here, this one's different. So what are you doing with this?
I did share this in the sharing center, and I got rid of the word eyes. I thought it looked a little busy and things. Once you're playing with it, sometimes you realize it's not exactly what you want, but I love that I can go right back in it
and edit it.
Right. And so I didn't want to print it again because of the ink, but that's the way it rolls.
Gotcha. So you got rid of these eyes.
I did because that was just too busy in there.
Yep.
And it just says straight across, what do you see?
And this is repeatable text, literacy work.
Yep. And you can flip through the pages. They look identical.
This comes off.
It does.
Through the pages. They look identical.
Yep.
And it's got a spot.
So you can pull and the kids can pick.
And these are not Velcro. What are these?
So these are adhesive dots, removable adhesive dots.
Gotcha.
That Go
You
in
can
the
actually
little
look.
square. Yep.
All
So
right.
there you go.
So this is a page where each, black cat, black, green witch. So this is
sounds very familiar.
sort
to
of
the
like brown bear.
story you were
Yeah.
just talking about.
white ghost. So they're trying to match the right one. Is that
Yep.
the idea?
They can. You can play with it however you want to play with it.
Oh, the white ghost doesn't see the
And,
white ghost looking at him. He'd see something else. Gotcha.
Yep.
So great. And you put it into a book. You bound this with Velo Bind, which we have, or Fellows Binder. If you want to buy one at Staples, they're called Fellows Binders.
Most schools have them
schools
available
have
if you're
them,
in a
yeah.
school
If you're in a
district.
private practice, it's certainly a business expense. So, and worth it. And it seems like it's going to be harder than hole punching, but it's really not. It's easier to do this than it is to successfully hole punch, at least with a handheld hole punch.
Oh my goodness, we
Right.
struggled with this very one.
Yeah,
You
this
ready?
is the one we butchered.
Okay, my speech friends are gonna love all the Arctic books you can whip up
Yeah,
and put together with your minimal pairs.
I'm gonna make this a little smaller here.
Are we too big?
We are.
Oh, we're losing weight. Yes.
Yeah, it's about time, right? So
That's one way to do it.
That's one way to do it. That's a much easier way to do it. All right. So letter sounds, and you're making my letter sounds with these plosives and early letter sounds.
And if you can even ask the child which
What do you
sound
wanna
they
work
want
on?
to play with, and we can just talk about the pictures in there. You can make multiple pages for each sound and put them together
Right.
within your book.
And you colored these to match.
In this one, I did a top column and a center grid.
Yep.
And then the side right column.
And yes, you had a sidebar. So you'll see this line right here, right? So that separates the main grid from the header,
Which I
and
made
from the
huge.
right sidebar.
Now, the trick for making those huge is those are multiple cells that I dragged bigger.
Correct.
And that makes the line go down. If I had just did 1 by 2, they would be thin.
It'd be one line. It'd be the
one line.
same as this height. So she made this multiple heights,
Two
multiple
lines,
lines high, and then she just dragged these out. And you'll notice that it's not the same multiple, right? So this is either a 2 or a 4
It's
across.
2,
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So you can have the header or the sidebar not match the main grid. And actually that's important because there are standards out there. Pod's one of them, that if you're trying to match it, the number of columns on the right hand side is not the same, or same number of rows is not the same as the number of rows in the main grid. So if you're trying to match those, it's definitely important to be able to do that. I don't need to show all these letters, do I?
No. They're again, I just duplicated the page to keep that layout and consistency.
Gotcha.
So
Well, this is pretty cool. It's a good idea. I had not thought to do this kind of stuff.
And I've tried different binding. I went to Staples to look for different ways to bind them. There's nothing perfect.
Yeah.
But,
What do you got? What's your next one?
I did try. I made a variety of different things. In fact, I will take them out.
I think
of this.
Lori was testing.
I was.
Ooh. Look. It's a thing for snack time.
Snack time. Again, this one has the
You
center.
got to laminate the hell out of
grid.
this. Yeah, this one has to be laminated, right?
I do love making snack mats laminated with different things to talk about on them.
Right.
So, but yes, and this is one that has a right column, a left column, and one across the top.
And they're all different. They're all different counts,
Mhm.
right? And the way she did this was she made one cell, 1 by 1. Right? Or if she made it 5 by 5, she then dragged this out to cover the entire center grid area, right?
Yeah, it probably was one. I don't know.
Either way, super easy. So then these are our play mats.
So there's a snack mat, a Play-Doh mat.
Yep. So you've got things that are common on all of them, right? So you have your,
Oh, they're different on the 2 pages.
they're only a little different.
Yep.
They don't have to be different.
They don't.
They could be consistent for
could
motor
be.
planning.
It would be better.
That would be better.
But
What happened to you? Come on, you're better than
the
that.
tool, and these symbols all align with the activity.
How did you do this? How did you
I chose a light color, a light purple on white,
and a blank cell?
a blank cell.
So yes, it's interesting that Lori did this. This is a pro tip. Okay. Lori did a pro tip. So if she had just double clicked and typed Play-Doh, she could have gotten a nice big Play-Doh in a light gray by choosing a light gray color. But to get it at the bottom, what she did was she put a blank square here.
Do you want full honesty?
What?
This was made before you had the text feature.
Oh, okay. Well, that is how you would do this now. Is
Exactly.
you would add a blank.
And it's actually kind of neat because the text is at the bottom.
Yeah.
Pretty.
All right, so look at this. I know that name.
And that's a writing mat.
Grandbaby name. Um,
Just
and
a
so yeah,
player.
so you can trace and
Again, you would laminate it, and you can use dry erase. You can use Play-Doh. You can.
and again, you don't have to have the tabs. Like when you made these, you probably did have to have the tab.
You can cut them off.
Yeah,
But
you
I
cut 'em
chose
off.
to have them because I actually like the idea of putting them together in a folder and having a quick pull out.
OTs would love that.
Here we go.
Right. Let's do some practice. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's take
That's
a
plenty.
look. Yeah, you brought good stuff. Everybody likes them. All right, let's switch up a little. Hi. There's two. Every time I change scenes, there's two of us, which is kind of jarring, isn't it? So, all right. So let's take another quick look at the tool for a second. I'm going to load up. I haven't planned this really. I'm going to load up. You know what? None of these. I'm going to go to your LessonPix page, and I'm going to go to, let's say, this material right here.
Okie dokie.
Okay. This is material I made yesterday when I was making the video. And yes, it was yesterday that I was making the video.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go ahead and open the book, which lets me reopen exactly where I was. And you'll see that this one has, I was not done yet when this is the wrong one.
It's okay.
No, not okay. Not okay. This one. I want to show the one where I was done. I'm sorry. All right. So here we took a core vocabulary from the Sharing Center, and this is in the video. But I do show a couple of things in here that I want to show differently. In the video, I show how we copied the images over from an existing material in the Sharing Center, moved them around, color coded them, even like set the border color on the green here is set to dark green, which you couldn't do at all before. You couldn't set a border of a cell different for every cell,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't change the border cells at all. So this adds another thing there.
I know,
right?
It's so cool. We've been wanting that for a long
forever,
time.
right? But what I did want to show was I went in and made the other things they had there were classroom, a classroom version of this, where the very core words that they were working on stayed, or maybe they cut these off and used them on a tab on the right. I'm not sure how Amy used them. But in order to make this, I dragged things around and I painted them using the Alt and the Control keys. And I just want to show that, okay? So I'm going to make a copy of this page. I'm going to duplicate it.
This is definitely not intuitive.
Which part?
Using the Alt key.
Oh,
but I think once
it's so
you get
powerful. It's so stupid powerful. Demo page. All right, so I'm going to change the name to a demo page just so we know what we're working on.
Uh-huh.
So let's say over here, I wanted a bunch of blank cells, okay? I just wanted to clear them out. So I can throw these things over here in the scratch pad. That's like a glorified trash can. It's a trash can. Things will move here when you delete them. But also, if you want to move something between pages, the way you do that is you move them to the scratch pad, go to the other page, and you can drag them back, right? So it's kind of a glorified one. When you move things around, right, you'll see that little, I don't know how to point on it. You see the little plus sign right there in the upper right? So that's actually arrows that show that it's moving, okay? So I'm moving this. If I drag it over here, it will drop it and switch, right? And if I move it over to the trash pad, it'll move it to the trash pad.
And the colors all stayed.
Right, the colors all stay.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm moving this and I hold down the Control key, you'll see it change to a plus sign, right?
That means add.
It means copy, not add. Dang. It means copy. So it will put a copy here. So I can make a bunch of these, okay? Undo works. I can undo this. The third thing I can do is when I'm moving this, if I hold down the Alt key, right, you'll notice that the image went away. So here's me moving around without the Alt key. And when I move the Alt key, the image goes away and it just has the paintbrush. So let's show what that means from over here. If I pick this up and hold the Alt key, you'll notice it's only dragging the color. So I drop it over, it's going to just drop the color, okay? So I can very quickly go in here and make exactly the colors that I want without having to do them all by open this cell up over and over again and change all these cells. So that works on drag. It also works on resize. So if I wanted to make all of this section over here white, I could grab this guy's corner, start dragging, hold down the Alt key. You see a little paintbrush, and they're all white now. If I wanted to make everything yellow, everything is yellow. Okay. It is a really fast way, and undo always works. Okay. So it's a really fast way to very quickly highlight the things that you want to be green, make them green, make it in it, and all of the elements of that cell copy. So the border copies, the everything else does, and it doesn't matter what size they are. If this is a big pencil and I drag this over, it doesn't care, right? It does what you should want it to do. So you can really quickly make this, and she's looking at me like I'm a total geek, right?
No, if you go back to that one more time,
yes.
There's a couple things that a lot of users have been requesting, and I think this solves that. And these color backgrounds, as well as ease of putting them in,
yep,
is very, very helpful. There's been several things. I also like your tray. You have a load all in there.
Yeah. Should we show that?
Oh,
all right. So let's say
like magical.
Right. So let's start with a new page.
Just do a little plus in the corner.
Oh, over here. Yeah, this guy.
Do you see
that?
That's what sign. I use.
Okay. That adds a new page, and this will be Lori's page.
Oh, well, then it's got to be good.
All right. So new page. All right. So if I wanted to add from the tray, I have a bunch of core words in here. This is just what I happen to have in my tray because I was playing with them. If I hit load all, okay, it's going to go left to right, top to bottom, and load the pictures.
Even if you had sidebars or top bars.
Even if you have top, yeah. So let's do this again. Let's add, let's add top header with a bunch more. Okay. All right. So now I've got a grid at the top and a grid in the middle. When I load it, it will do what you expect it to do, which is really cool, right?
Yeah.
And it's nice. Let's say that you had this, but let's just take this guy's. Let's just say space dummy.
Hit back.
Dummy space. All right. So you've got, for whatever reason, you've got cells that are they're taking up space because you wanted to use them. You've already got stuff on your page here. Okay. So you've got these spaces. If you do the load all, it loads around them. It looks at all of the spaces that are free and it fills them in left to right, top to bottom. Okay. Yeah. So this is,
Marissa saw
the preview at Asha.
She's special.
Yeah. And it should have been released before now. It should have been released about a month ago. But it should have been released about a year ago.
It shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
And Ashley Sparks loves this.
Yes.
Just like me.
Loves it so much. There you go.
Yeah.
So these are, one way you can do this is from your tray. Again, I can undo these. In fact, I can even undo things like adding the page, and I can redo them. It really, the undo and redo work just the way you want them to.
As long as you're in the
only time that they fail is if you leave the editor and you go to the sharing center, right? You don't lose your whole book. Your book will still be there, but you do lose your undo and your redo. And I don't really have a way to fix that. So we also added the ability to, and this is where the add-ins are going to get better. So the symbol builder will get better. The add-ins for PowerPoint and Google will also get better. So on our Browse tab, I'll show you on the symbol builder, our Browse tab is pretty simple. It shows you our categories. And if you go to balls, you'll get a category full. These are all LessonPix symbols. But this isn't the only thing you might want to browse. So if you're back in the grid books, and so right now the undo and redo are gone because I left. Under browse, we actually let you browse multiple things here. Let me zoom in so you guys can see a little better. So you can browse the image categories, which is what we always had, right? So these are the same image categories you just saw. But you can also browse your recent materials. These are materials that you've created recently. Like here's there's a puzzle we made. I don't know what it was in it. Okay. I don't know what those are. Or scales and ranking that we made. Itsy Bitsy Spider. because whatever materials you've made recently, you can browse them, or you can look for your favorite materials.
Browse their symbols.
Right. So if I look at like this core vocabulary board, this is something that I had favorited in the sharing center, but the materials are here. So I don't even have to remember to put them in the tray. I just need to remember to favorite them so that they're there later.
I forget that favorite tool now and then.
Yeah, I do too.
And then I use it a lot for.
Yep. When you remember it, it's very powerful. The last actually is cool too, and this should have been around forever. Your save trays.
Yeah.
You should be able to browse your save trays.
Because I'll save my classroom pictures, my kids.
Yep.
In a folder under save trays, and here I can just pull up.
Yeah.
And photos work the same way.
Yep. So I can load my idioms, and I can say, oh, I've only got 7 things, or only got 8 things here. My page size is wrong, right? So I'll undo this. I'll say I just should have made this, 4 by. Let's make it 3 by 3. That'll give us 9. Add these, and I'll come up with one more thing here. I'll put this guy over here and call these idioms. Idioma.
Idiomas.
Probably a word. And I'll make
Idioms.
it dark with text.
Is there another I in idioms?
Oh, there is. Not idoms. Idiots. That's me.
We got to work on letting it go.
All right. So we can make anything we want here. So I hope you guys see that this is valuable.
It's so cool.
Certainly something that we have waited a long time to get done.
You got very little sleep over the past few days.
Yep.
Now it's time to celebrate.
Yeah. So it is. She keeps trying to bring up the champagne, but it is something where
I did bring harder stuff, but it's teeny tiny.
Well, that's 2 shots. So it's better
because we don't drink champagne.
No. So if we are going to see, this should be considered Rev 1. I put the beta flag on it, but we've had 100 people who really helped us test this.
And we love to hear you. Yeah. Even ideas, they may not be possible, but we love to hear them because you never know.
Even if we have to tell you no, we still want to hear it because we need to know what direction we're going in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to now have 100,000 people testing it.
Love it.
Right. I love it. But we are going to find all the issues over the next month and we'll fix them. So give us patience on that. If you have anything that you think we can do better, let us know. I'm glad you guys are all happy. Everybody who showed up here thinks we're great. Which that's probably why they showed up.
Makes you smile.
It does.
Makes it all worth it.
Yeah. When I had some more sleep, it'll all be worth it. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, let us know online at Facebook or support@lessonpix.com. We'll try very hard to do this more. We're going to have some more guests on here, probably in the next week or two, after people have a chance to play with this.
I think that's the value is once people play, then we'll have one where they can ask their questions.
A real LessonPix Live, not just us.
And we'll have a lot more examples of how it can be used.
Yep.
From great people like you.
This was not 15 minutes. It was a solid half an hour.
I know you're a chatty Kathy.
Before we go, I don't see any questions here. Except for they can't wait to figure out how to use it. Yeah. So let's go ahead and say good night.
Good night.
And good night. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
See ya.